I am very happy to see all of you out here who are standing on the side of justice for people's bodily autonomy. And it's not just bodily autonomy. This is a healthcare issue. Abortion is healthcare. Abortion is part of basic healthcare, and we need politicians to get out of our healthcare decisions, right? Abortion, like any other medical decision, is a decision between a patient and a provider, and that's it. Keep politicians out of my medical care. The one thing I did want to encourage folks to do is that the governor has not yet signed this bill. Call the governor, and I have a number for you to call from Planned Parenthood, to call the governor and tell him to not sign the 8-week ban, that abortion is healthcare and this is bad healthcare policy. This is going to put people in danger. Number for the governor from Planned Parenthood, 202-559-7201. That'll set you up and give you a brief explanation about what's happening and then link you to the governor. Okay, that number again is 202-559-7201. Yeah, so we need all of you to call the governor and let him know this is not okay, that he will be putting people in danger. He will be putting Missourians in danger with this. This is an egregious policy, bad healthcare policy that puts people's lives in danger. Okay, that's all I wanted to say, but now I think, Kate, we're going to open it up for folks to share any stories about why they support abortion access, and if you so choose, share your abortion story if you have one.
I think it's really powerful to come up and share your story. I know it's hard. I had never really, my friends knew, my family knew, but I'd never said, on Saturday I said, I've had an abortion, I'm not ashamed of it. It's a safe legal procedure that I had, and we need to let go of our shame about that, because there's nothing shameful about having an abortion. And if you share your story here, we're here to listen. And if you just want to share why this is important to you, because I think that we change minds with letting people know what this issue is truly about. We had someone here that was arguing, and I encourage you not to engage at this place with people, but saying, abortion is killing children. I think that I have more right to live than something that is this big. And that's what we need to reframe the discussion about. And regardless of your feelings on abortion, if you would never have one, that's fine. But you have to respect other people's choices to do what they want. Just come up here if you'd like to speak.
All right. I'm one of those old ladies. Oh, is that better? I'm one of the senior women that had to have an abortion. I didn't have to. I chose to have an abortion when I was a freshman in college. And I grew up in a very poor community, had very little parental help. It was survival kind of mode. And so when I finally got to college, my freshman year, I got pregnant. And it really was a decision about my future. And I had to go to New York. There were like 2 or 3 states back then that allowed abortion. And I flew to New York by myself. They pick you up in a van, and take you to the clinic. And I mean, it's very traumatic, but I would never, ever deny another woman that right. It is so important.
The important part of this issue is voting. Rowden, Parsons, Sheree Reich, Chuck Basie. So what are we going to do? Vote them out! 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 Thank you all for being here today.
and to support your organizations fighting to stop the bans across the nation. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lyra. I am the chair of the Boone County Democrats. I'm proud to stand here today with you all, and the Boone County Democrats are proud supporters of the Stop the Bans Coalition. We are a member of that coalition, so thank you. We were representing you in the State House all these past several weeks, but especially on the last day of session. I was down in Jefferson City listening to the lies they were telling. I was listening to them talk about consensual rape. I was proud to stand and represent for all of you and to be there in support of our Democratic legislators who've been fighting for our rights all session long. And I was proud to stand there and demand that they vote for choice. I will continue to stand and demand that they vote for women's right to choose. And I ask each of you to stand with me. Here in Boone County, our legislators, Sarah Walsh, who represents District 50, my district, voted for this ban. She voted to outlaw your choice. Vote her out! Chuck Basie, District 47, the western part of Boone County, he voted for this. Vote him out! Vote him out! Vote him out! Vote him out! Cherie Tolson Reich. Of course you know she voted for this. Vote her out! 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 Caleb Rowden, Senate District 19, Cooper and Boone County. Vote him out! 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 Cindy O'Laughlin. What district is Cindy O'Laughlin? What district are you from? 18th. Vote her out! 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 You know what makes this even worse is Caleb is in charge. He brought this up. He allowed that vote to happen in the Senate. He's your leader. Vote him out. He does not deserve to stand for Missourians, for our district. He does not deserve to be the leader in the Senate. Vote him out. Vote him out! Vote him out! Vote him out! You may be thinking, what can you do after today? After you stand here and say, this is not the will of the people. Get involved. Support Planned Parenthood. Support the ACLU, who's taking these battles to court. Support your local parties. Pick a side. We're working here locally. We are a proud 100% volunteer organization. The Boone County Democrats have an office here. We could use your help and support. Thank you all. Courtney.
Hello, I turned 80 in September. I hope. In preparation for this, I dug through my buttons and found one when I went in 1989, to the Women's March in Washington, D.C. The theme was keep abortion legal. We're getting sick and tired of this. It's 20 years later, and here we are. But I would like to also introduce, I'm the president of the Missouri Women's Leadership Coalition, and we work to get women from outside St. Louis and Kansas City, progressive women, elected to office. We had a great year last year, endorsed 32, 4 of whom won. They're going to come out of the woodworks. We need you behind us. One of our planks is to protect Roe v. Wade. Thank you.
Supporting great organizations like this one, your Democratic Party. Awesome, awesome work, ladies. Is there anyone else who wants to come up and tell your story today? Do we want to talk about how this affects each of us personally? As if we have to justify our human rights by explaining our deepest, darkest secrets or stories. It's a shame. Do you want to do some chants?
Okay. My body, my choice. 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 When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? So how do we stand up? We vote. We donate to the ACLU. We talk to our friends and neighbors. We donate to organizations like Gateway Access and STL, which helps women get safe and legal abortions. We keep calling our legislators. We keep going. Even when we know they don't care, we still speak out because we will not go silently into that night. We will never quit. We will never stop. I know you are tired. I am tired too, but we have to keep fighting. Please keep going. If you'd like to share your stories, please come up here. Please grab this mic out of my hand. There is power in speaking your truth, and there is power in standing up for what you believe in. Jamie, let's talk to this.
Hey everybody, my name's Jamie. All I really did was start the Facebook event and invite some people to come, so I'm so glad to see you all here. I'm just a concerned citizen. This issue affects me, and I really thought we needed to get out here and join the National Day of Action sponsored by the ACLU, the Women's March, and other organizations that care. So I'm originally from Oklahoma. I've lived in Missouri for about 10 years now, and when I was in Oklahoma, you did have to get parental permission even to get birth control, and that was not something that my parents supported, and I actually ended up getting pregnant when I was young, and I was wanting to get an abortion. I was thinking about where could I travel, where could I go. I ended up miscarrying, but I mean, I had no options, and that's not okay. I should have had options, and I should have had a choice. Yeah, so that's why I cared, that's why I'm here, and I imagine that's why a lot of you are here too. Like Kate said, we'd love to hear your stories, or even just hear your anger, your sadness, anything you want to share with the crowd.
I just want to say it's not just about your bodies or your health care or your rights, it's about your lives. If you have a baby when you're not prepared, it can cost your education, it can cost your children poverty, it can cause their whole lives to change as well.
There is a female legislature that said women's rights will not be bought with the blood of our children. I don't know what children she's talking about because the Republican Party does not care about children. If they cared about children, we would have universal health care. If they cared about children, food stamps would be available to everyone who needs them. If they cared about children, we would have universal free lunches and breakfast for every child that goes to our school. If they cared about children, the children in Flint, Michigan would have clean water. If they cared about children, 5 children would not die in camps after being ripped from their parents' arms at the border. children? Where is the care for the children, for the citizens of this country? Where are they?
Great party.
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like.
All right. I was born with congenital glaucoma. That meant that by the time my mother was told by the time I was 10, I'd be totally blind. Being precocious, I did it 2 years early. As a woman with a disability, my group is targeted for sexual abuse. One of the things that I discovered as a young girl was that people thought they could do anything they wanted to me because I couldn't identify them. Even if I knew who they were, the police would not stand up for me because they'd say I couldn't identify them in a lineup. I was molested 3 times before the age of 18. I didn't get pregnant, thank God. But I have worked with women who didn't have any say. One young girl was mentally delayed, and I was her counselor, and she was gang raped by her brother's friends while her parents were away for the weekend. Her parents came to me and said, "What do we do? Do we sterilize her because we can't protect her when we're not there, when she's out of our immediate custody?" And I said, "You're going to have to ask her, but probably that would be the wisest thing because she has no defenses." There is an attitude in this country that is appalling. The way we treat our female children is just not right. It's your best defense not to let them know that they've got you scared. And that's what I did my whole life. I never cried in public. I didn't cry until I was 19 years old because I knew that if my tormentors could make me cry, it gave them the power they were seeking. Because it had nothing to do with sexuality, it had to do with power. And because I was small, and because I was female, and because I was blind, I was a target.
Thank you for sharing those words. I do think that this is about control. It's about power. When you stop abortion, when you stop birth control, when you make miscarriage a felony, I see what you're doing. When you make miscarriage a felony and felons can't vote, I see what you're doing. This is about controlling the population, and we will not let it happen.
We won't go back. We won't go back. We won't go back. We won't go back. Thank you to all of you who are sharing stories today. It's a shame that we are forced to share every story and moments in our lives that should be private between us and our partners and our families and our doctors, not part of the government, not regulated in this way. We each have a right to privacy, we each have a right to bodily autonomy, and to make these decisions ourselves.
Absolutely. How many years do we have to go on this?
I'm Rebecca and part of Como for Progress with Kate. I have a story to share from a friend who offered. I am the child of abuse, neglect, addiction. We were left to fend for ourselves when my grandparents weren't there to help. For God's sake, I slept in the back of a car when my parents left one weekend and locked us out of our home. There were strange, drunk, high men passed out at our house dozens of times, and my mom would tell me to barricade my bedroom door and scream if anyone entered. My sister was a victim of childhood rape at 11. Our own family very recently even blamed her for what happened. After the assault, our mother knew and left my sister in the very situation in which she was forever damaged. DFS was called on our parents at least a couple times, but nothing was ever done. Can you imagine a child having a child in my family? A family riddled with mental illness, broken from fists and alcohol, living off government aid through both parents who worked full-time jobs, knew how to play the system and put the fear in their kids enough they would never rat them out. If you never have been in such a situation and can't imagine, how dare you decide abortion is 100% wrong 100% of the time?
Hi, my name is Jackie Sample, and I have two things that I want to share today. One is a little story about my second pregnancy with my youngest son. It was a pretty rough pregnancy. I was hospitalized multiple times, went into labor multiple times, had an abruption. We really didn't expect the pregnancy to go to term. And each time I would go to the hospital, do you know what they told me? They said, you have to go through the emergency room. You can't even go to labor and delivery because your child is not viable. Because I wasn't 20 weeks along yet. I was 19 weeks when I had my abruption. So I have a real hard time coming to terms with a system that says a baby is a person at 2 weeks after conception, when at almost 20 weeks of pregnancy, as somebody who is fighting for the life of my child, the medical community won't even address it. Amen. And that's such a, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. The second thing I wanted to share, I was at the Capitol on Friday. I was there for a different reason. And I had my 15-year-old son with me. So I was there for a different reason, but we stayed because I wanted to hear what was said about my rights and the rights of other women in our state. And I also wanted to use it as a learning opportunity for my son. He had lots of questions, and I did my best to answer him honestly and with the least amount of bias, so he could make up his own mind, because that's important too. So something you have to understand about my son, he's 15, will be 16 in August. He's on the autism spectrum. And as I was explaining the discussion to him and the decision to him and what had just happened, he looked at me and he said, "Mom, do those legislators realize that they have just stripped the rights from 50% of Missouri's population?" And I honestly sat there and I'm like, I don't think they do. Yes, they don't. That can be just one of the many conclusions. But I was so proud of him in that moment, and I actually have in my hand, he actually wrote a little report on his day at the Capitol, and it is more of the same. But if a 15-year-old on the autism spectrum got there on his own, based on what he heard and what he's seen on the news after, I mean, come on, it's a clear message. We have the right to make our own decisions with our own bodies, period. I don't understand the argument.
Can you, right here with your sign, with the bullet sign, can you come up for a minute? I've been staring at this sign, and I am the mother to two 12-year-old girls, and I drop them off at school every day, worried that they're going to get shot. Yet I'm told that laws don't stop guns, but somehow laws stop abortions. So we can't protect our children from being shot at schools, but we can protect something that might possibly someday become a child. So this is the party of hypocrisy. These are, and I'm going to say, these are the white men who are deciding what our society should be. These are the white men who use words like consensual rape. start of the count. That's week 3 when they start counting, legislator. You can't move an ectopic pregnancy to a uterus. It's not scientifically possible. So let's leave it up to the medical professionals to decide and help people make decisions. And let's start doing things like making gun laws so our children don't get shot at school.
Hi, my name is Sue, and I'm going to try to do this without losing it, but I am a family medicine doctor, retired now, and one of my very first patients when I came back to school from maternity leave was a woman in the ICU who was dying from Clostridium sepsis after trying to do a home procedure. I really can't bear to see any of that happen again, and that's partly why I'm here today. So there was a woman who did not go home to her 3 kids that she already had after trying to do something about a pregnancy that was completely unintended. And this was when abortion was even legal. This was 1989. And so I just can't stand it, and we can't go back again. Thanks.
So I was arguing on Facebook with somebody the other day, as one does, and he was making the point, because of course it was a he, that you think it's not a life, I think it is, shouldn't we err on the side of life? And what I pointed out to him was that there is an actual definitive life in this equation, and that is the life of a woman. And that every pregnancy carries risk. I have a dear friend who lost her daughter because her pregnancy killed her. I have friends who've had ectopic pregnancies, and they've had health care delayed because it was more important to make sure they were not having an elective abortion. The chance that maybe it was a viable pregnancy and we would cause an abortion was more important than making sure that they did not hemorrhage and die. I know that there was a time in my life that if I had had an unwanted pregnancy and I did not have access to an abortion, the choice I would have made would be to kill myself. And I think about the teenage girls I know now who that might be their choice, and that is a life that I care dearly about. I am a mother of an 11-year-old daughter. She is the light of my life, and she has a cognitive disability, and I don't have to worry that she will have an unplanned pregnancy because she will never be able to consent to sex, so she will not have a pregnancy caused by her consensual sexual activity. But the rate of sexual assault of children like her is greater than 90%. Yes. And we will do everything we can to keep her safe. But if she was to become pregnant, the thought of her having to go through pregnancy and childbirth, an 11-year-old child, makes me sick at heart. And when Caleb Rowden says that this bill is pro-child, I want to tell him to go himself.
Repeal Rowden! Repeal Rowden! Repeal Rowden! Repeal Rowden! Repeal Rowden! There are a few people that drive me more crazy than Caleb Rowden. When they say they want to hear from the people, I thought we spoke unclean. What happened? Our legislator tried to get rid of it with Caleb Rowden leading that charge. Caleb Rowden is not pro-child. He is not pro-Missouri. He is not standing for us, so vote him out! 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 Vote him out!
Hello, everybody. I am so excited to see everybody here today. Give yourselves a round of applause. I also want to mention a couple of names, people that we should honor, that we should talk about when people who claim they're pro-life want to argue with us. So Carlos Gregorio Hernandez Vasquez was the 5th minor who was found unresponsive in his detention cell in McAllen, Texas, when he was taken under border custody. Malaysia Booker is the 4th trans woman of color to die, be fatally shot in Texas, while there is another woman, Michelle Tamika Washington, who was found dead in Pennsylvania. These people demand the right to live. They are people who are here and they're wanting a life for themselves, a life to live their truth, and yet we sit here and allow people to commit violence against them. Those are names that we should be talking about as well. I'm so proud to see everybody here today. I am from Texas, so I have had to put up with it my entire life. Granted, I know that there are people who have been doing this a lot longer, but it gets tiring just the same. My abortion story, I thankfully have never I've had the privilege of never having to make that choice, but I have had several pregnancy scares with my partner, and being in a low-income family and being a part of, a group of people, of women who cannot attain these accesses, we were scrimping and saving, those $400, $600 to make sure I ever had to get one, I had the money. Because my insurance under my parents, I didn't want them to know. And so those are going to be the situations we have with students who are here on this college campus trying to hide these stories, their frightened selves from their parents. And as an educator, I cannot just sit here and let that happen. We need to make sure that we have quality sex education for them. We need to make sure we have quality and free contraception for them. We need to make sure that we, as a community here in Columbia and around the United States, support all of our students. And I'm just, I'm sick of it. So thank you again.
Thank you. There's something I want to say. Abortion will never be gone for the elite. The elite do what they want. We have seen how many 8 legislatures across this country who have been sponsoring pro-life bills who encourage their mistresses to have abortions. So they are hypocrites, and we will not stand for that hypocrisy.
Hi guys, I actually just drove by and I saw this and I felt really moved. So I'm going to share with you guys my story. I grew up probably being more on the pro-life side, to be honest. I think we're raised almost to do that. And in a lot of ways, I can see their point of view. They truly believe that they are doing something good. For my story, I had a daughter who died at 12 weeks old due to a genetic condition in which basically her brain wasn't going to develop and she was not compatible with life. That's just the way it is. Me and my husband are both carriers. We had one son, and we really wanted to have another one and let our son have a sibling to grow up with, which, as for some of us, that's what we would like to do. So first I was like, well, why don't we look at doing the genetic thing? You get an egg, you get a sperm, you can plant that, make sure, it doesn't have anything that's not compatible with life, you get pregnant, everything's great. About 10 grand is how much that costs. And we have this law in Missouri to where when a sperm meets an egg, it's considered a life. So even all those sperms and eggs, if we would have done that, we would have had to pay fees indefinitely to store that life, which is ridiculous. So before this law was in, our other option was we could try, and if everything's okay, everything's okay, and if something's bad, I had the backup of an abortion. I'd had a miscarriage in between the death of my daughter, and I'd realized that a miscarriage and an abortion, and a death of a child, were two very different things. And I'd never want to diminish somebody's miscarriage, but I've had both, and I can tell you, for me, the hurt was not even close, not even the same game. So I decided, let's try it for 1 month and see what happens. And I got pregnant. And we were really excited until we started going through and realizing, A, I can't get genetic testing until I'm 10 weeks along. B, the thought of that abortion only costs a little bit of money is outrageous. It would have cost about $3,000 to $5,000. And not to mention you have to go through these waiting periods. You have to be told things that aren't true, like it's going to give you cancer or can, which they know it doesn't, but they still have to say it because of our government. And I look at these women and these families like mine, and we did the genetic testing, And I have a beautiful, healthy 2-year-old named Vincent, we call him Vinny, who's not even a carrier. He will never have his children have the condition that my daughter died of. But if I didn't have the option of a backup plan of an abortion, they would expect me to carry a baby to term, or fetus to term, that's going to die, that's going to upset myself, my husband, my other son, our parents, our grandparents, anybody that loves us would have felt that pain because they want to feel good at night because they say they did something good. They did not. If it wasn't for that choice, I would not have my Vinny. So for my Vinny.
Abortion is not just about abortion, even though I believe in safe, legal abortion always. It is about so much more. It is about our right to make our decisions, about the freedom to do what we want with our lives.
Thank you. I want to talk about what the Republicans like to lie about. How about some quotes? A gift from God rape. Quote, when life begins with that horrible situation of rape, that is something that God intended to happen. Boo! Republican Senate candidate Richard Murdoch. How about, we all remember this one, legitimate rape. If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try and shut that whole thing down. Republican Congressman and Senate candidate Todd Akin. Honest rape. If it's an honest rape, that individual should go immediately to the emergency room. I would give them a shot of estrogen. Republican Congressman and presidential candidate Ron Paul. Emergency rape? Anybody hear that one? It was really an issue about a Catholic church being forced to offer those pills if the person came in an emergency rape. A Republican Senate candidate, Linda McMahon, when being asked about Catholic hospitals being required to offer emergency contraception to rape victims. Easy rape. Oh, yeah, that's a good one, right? If you go down that road, some girls, they rape so easy. Republican State Representative Roger Rivard, Wisconsin. Forcible rape. You know, they come up with all these excuses, these things they think sound so right when they say them.
Because they've all done it.
I think rape is all about control, and so is mandating how and when we can have a safe, legal abortion.
That's right. How about Representative Hovis and his consensual rape?
Consensual rape. Yes, that was heard on the last day of session. He is from Jackson, Missouri. So we are hoping we will get some candidates out there to run against him.
Former police officer.
Enjoyable rape. If it's inevitable, just relax and enjoy it. Republican gubernatorial candidate Clayton Williams. Boo. Boo. Ashamed father rape. If I lived something similar to that with my own family, put yourself in a father's situation. Yes. Vote them out because they are not making legislation for the people of this state. They are making it extremist for a small section of the religious minority here. Vote them out.
Lyra just read down a huge list of lies, because that's what we hear when people talk on the other side about abortion. Lies, it's unsafe, it's going to cause cancer. We're tired of the lies from politicians, yeah? Yeah! PP had a great chant as we walked around the Capitol building on Friday. When politicians lie, people die. Do it with me. When politicians lie, people die. 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 Does anybody else want to come up and give their story? Say support or...
Hi, my name is Kate. I'm not really sure what's going to come out here, but I just finished my PhD in political science at University of Missouri. Thank you. So I just graduated. So I think a lot about political power, and I think a lot about what happens to women in the world. And I just kind of want to talk a little bit about the patriarchy and about how important it is that we understand that a lot of the things that are happening today, that have happened for a long time, have been systematically structured to happen in this way, mostly by men who have been controlling the conversations, the power, and the wealth in this country for as long as we have been around. One of the things that I find really troubling, though, is that we as women, and those who identify as women, and those who are allies of women, don't do as good of a job sometimes of coming together and being on the same side. We see a lot of women allowing, or people who identify as women, allowing this overarching system to separate us along lines of race and identification and religion and class, and say to us that we should be on their side because they can benefit us in some way. And then again and again and again, they throw us to the ground when it benefits them. And I point you to the recent example of the Kavanaugh hearings for the Supreme Court. And we watched Christine Blasey Ford, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, a woman who had been through so much and did such heroic things by sitting in front of the world and telling her story. And those men, those white, powerful men, did not hesitate to grind her into the ground, to protect their right to more power. They did not stand up for her because she was white, because she was wealthy, because she was educated. They threw her down as soon as she defied their male privilege and their power to control our bodies. So I tell you all, if you are women, if you identify as women, if you are allies of women, we can pull this down at the seams, but we have to have each other's backs to do it. So remember that the patriarchy is our ultimate enemy in this. And we can be male or identify as male or love men and still say that we have to stop this system of control. When the vast amount of wealth is controlled by the same men, when the vast amount of politics and power and the judges and the lawyers and the police officers are mostly the same men. This is what we end up with. So vote them out, stand together, support each other, and so our children and our children's children and those we love don't have to stand here again in another 10 and 30 and 50 years and continue this fight.
Vote them out! 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 Thanks to all the organizers and everyone who came out, and a special thanks to the men among us today. We've been chanting for our bodies, women's bodies, our rights, but this issue goes far beyond that. I urge all of us to remember that when they can take one of our organs from someone of any sex or gender and discriminate against it, all of our bodies and all parts of our bodies and rights are at risk. This is not just a women's issue, it's a human issue. We need to stand together and change it. Thank you.
When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? When Black Lives Matter, what do we do? We donate to organizations that are working. We donate to Gateway Access. We donate to Reparaction. We donate to Planned Parenthood. We donate to the ACLU, who is fighting this in the courts when our legislators are outnumbered. We keep fighting. We keep fighting. We must keep fighting every day, every time. Is there anyone else who'd like to share their story, their anger, how to keep going, ideas on how to fight this? Please come up here.
So, I never talked about this until about a week ago. I am almost 40, I have a baby face, I'm very blessed, but before I figured out how to be trans, I was presenting as kind of a badass woman. And so I was 19 and I had a pregnancy scare, and because I was poor and because I was scared and because I didn't know where or how to get access, I tried to self-terminate. I am profoundly lucky in two ways. One, we are pretty sure I wasn't really pregnant, and two, I'm not dead. And when I reflect on why I did those things, it is because I was so terrified. I knew that pregnancy was not the right choice for me as a human being. It was not the right choice for me at that time. It was not the right choice for the body I was trying to figure out. And so as part of my transition, I was profoundly lucky in my 20s to be able to get a tubal ligation, because the words, "I do not want to be the only dude in Lamaze class because he is having a baby," are surprisingly effective on clinicians. But my experience with these two things has only made me angrier as these bans are coming into place, because I remember that terror I had at 19. I remember the stories that my friends have told me over the last couple of years, like friends I had no idea had had abortions, or like, yeah, I had one at, this age for these reasons, and how nervous they were even talking about it with someone who knows that they know that I am still going to love them so much and support them so much. And so I think it's so important that people are talking about their experiences, even when those experiences are very weird and very strange, and I'm not someone who should be centering himself in this conversation. I'm here to support other people, because when people look at me, oh, you're just like some white dude. But even those of us who are coming from this in a weird place in the queer community, like choice is a queer issue, women's rights are a queer issue, choice is a queer issue, it's an economic issue, it's a racial issue, and we all have to stand up for each other. So thank you for coming out, thank you for doing this, and thank you for letting me waste some of your time. So.
I think that what we are hearing is that we all have to stand up today. A lot of these stories, thank you for people for sharing, because it's hard to say, but we're all affected. It is going to rain soon, so Jamie's going to close us out here. Thank you, Jamie, for organizing this.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for coming out. I don't want to say I've enjoyed hearing your stories, but it's been powerful to hear your stories and to share my own. I'm so thankful for everybody that's here with your amazing signs, all of the people that helped PeaceWorks, Como for Progress, Planned Parenthood. Give them a round of applause. Yeah, awesome. And it, like Kate said, it's going to rain, so I think we're going to disperse, but let's have kind of a final chant. Which one do we like the best? When politicians lie, people die. When politicians lie,